QRZ contest, Kilo Victor 8 Papa. The CQ contest from Kilo Victor 8 Papa, KV8P, Kilo Victor 8 Papa, calling CQ contest enlistment. The CQ contest from Kilo Victor 8 Papa, KV8P. Roger, 59119er.
119, thanks. Oscar Echo 2 Sierra.
KV8P, Kilo Victor 8 Papa, calling CQ contest enlistment. November 7, Sierra Echo, please copy 59, number 438. Thanks for 33, good luck. QRZ contest, Kilo Victor 8 Papa. The CQ contest from Kilo Victor 8 Papa, KV8P, Kilo Victor 8.
129, okay, for the last later of golf, Yankee struggles, Kilo equals 4, Yankee struggles, 59658, 73. 73, merci. QRZ, Florida 6, Kilo Oscar Papa.
What? What's up? You didn't miss a thing, Paul. Absolutely nothing. I'm waiting. I usually give it a minute or two for people to start to populate. And who's in here? Captain Paul. Dave. Hey, Steve. How's it going there? Captain. This is for all you 7300 freaks because I have a 7300 and I was listening today to some guys on whatever band. I can't remember because I can't remember anything from 5 minutes ago, and that's the honest to God truth. I just picked up a new 7300, so people are still buying these things. So I'm going to show you how I run it, how I'd been running it for a while. And it kind of brings it into the SDR realm. I don't consider the 7300 to be a true, it's not an SDR, okay? A true SDR is like a Flex, a Non-Sun, what's that other thing? I can't remember. John NALC had one. The heck was the name of that thing? My gate is a little tight. So, Kenwood TS2000. Great satellite rig, man. One of the sought afters, because it can change frequency running linear birds while on TX. Very, very cool. So, anywho. The 7300, what I've been doing is I run it on, I don't use, even though I have a couple dongles here, I have something coming which is really cool. Anybody who's run like SDR console or Uno with a 7300, if you've ever had a situation, let me explain this first, which will explain why I'm doing what I'm doing. I got very fed up, and it's wonky. I've always said that. It's not like running a Flex or a Sun or an Anon or whatever, where you punch the key. If you use, like, I use my little detonator PTT, right? Hold it in my hand. Sometimes I also have a foot switch on the floor, which will key the radio, right? Yeah, Todd's in here. This is really laid back, you guys, but I'm going to get in. I'm going to go in a little deep on how I get this working on the 7300. It's not as hard as it looks, all right, but I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So anyways, As you guys know, if you go way back on the channel, we're talking like years, right? I used to run the 7300 on SDR console using an ASPI HF Plus or an RSP Duo, blah, 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 with Uno or console, whatever. And I used to monitor through console. The problem with that is that when you punch the PTT on the radio itself, there's probably 20 or 30 millisecond lag before the software actually keys and shuts down receive. So sometimes I'll get like a burst of noise, like a ch or a that type of thing. Really, really annoying. I have a fix for that, and that's coming this week, probably by the end of this week, because I have a component coming, which is going to solve that issue forever, making it equal to a full-blown true SDR. Problem solved. I ain't even going to tell you what it is. It's so cheap, it's stupid. And you will never have that issue again. All right, if you're doing that. So, I've been running, come on now. My detonators is scooting across the desk. So, what I've been doing is I've been running on the native front end with the RxDAP system on the 7300. And it is superb. It rivals any of the SDRs. It can't compete with it when it comes to the tightness of the front end, because we all know the 7300 is a barn door. It lets everything in. And I've said that a million times, and anybody that doesn't believe me, go out and buy a true full-blown SDR Flex and on Sun, put them side by side, and you'll quickly realize, yeah, it's a freaking barn door. So what I've been doing is I run the native front end, and I have videos on my YouTube channel. You can see how it works. Like an S0 signal sounds like it's an S9 plus, sometimes plus. S0, it's not even registering on the S meter. Right? So, and I have other information coming on that. I was just talking to Glenn about this a little bit ago on Zello. I'm going to start playing with this, using the RxDAP as a literal brick wall, high and low pass filters, which will basically shut the door on the receive, not allowing anything to come in, encroach. You know how you get like some stuff trying to sneak into the passband. If it's within a certain range, I'm suspecting this will work like a champ, and it will literally brick wall that front end of the passband. And it works on the audio, not the IF. I'm going to try it. I'm going to start playing with this. More to come on that. So, being kind of an SDR like pan adapter kind of freak that I am, and being able to control the radio on screen instead of having to manipulate the buttons and knobs and stuff like that, still intrigues me, and I still enjoy that. So how could I get a very nice pan adapter? And a lot of you guys probably have used this stuff before, along with pretty much almost all full control over the front end of the transceiver. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. And let me just check in the chat quick. Share some of your knowledge with me sometime. Dude, I have no knowledge. Everything that I know is on the videos. You guys are going to love this one, right? I didn't know, and I'm not teasing anybody. I'm not making fun of anybody, but I have a quick story. I got contacted by a very nice guy. Bless his heart. I feel his pain. He emailed me and he said, I can't get Voodoo out of the rack. If someone emailed you that statement, what would you say to them? I got nothing. I don't know what to tell you. I emailed him back. I said, what type of voice do you have? What microphone are you using? And I'm digressing a little bit, but it's just interesting because that made me think of that, Paul, what you said. There are many, many things that I have presented that rely on you to do your homework and do your research and do the learning. I can't teach all of it. And it wouldn't even be practical for me to teach all of it. First of all, you have to learn all of the equipment that you're running. If it's software, you have to learn it. You have to learn, regardless of whether you're talking about RX or TX, you have to understand where the human voice sits in the frequency spectrum. You have to understand what is the frequency spectrum. What can the human ear hear, right? How does the transceiver interpret what you put into it? Because more often than not, what you put in is not what you get out. Even on the Anon, believe it or not, even on the Apaches. So, and the Sun, and the Flex. Understanding the equipment in learning, this is a learning process. I can't teach you all that stuff. I can't. First of all, there's not enough time. I don't even think I could. But the equipment itself, when someone says to you, let's say you go out and you buy a bunch of equipment and you say, oh, well, I got to, and this is serious digression, right? Because this isn't even what this video is about. But I try to cram so much information into these videos that it's probably, I'm the overkiller. And I'm a question talker. We were just joking about that. I am a question talker. And I have diarrhea of the mouth. So, where do you go to get that information? Well, you can get the technical information in instructionals and tutorials about how to make individual pieces of equipment work. You can find pretty much all of that online. But it has everything to do with your ear and understanding what is pleasing to you. And the end goal is to make it work in your favor. How do you make your TX audio sound a certain way? How do you make the RX audio, the RX side of the coin, sound a certain way? How do you manipulate this gear and software to make it do what you want to do? My apologies if I present things in a way that I say, just do this and it'll work. My apologies, because when it comes to this stuff, that stuff, the audio side of the coin, there is so much to it. It takes people years to develop their audio, to get a signature sound. It takes musicians years to develop that tone. They're in a constant pursuit of the tone, like a guitar player, the tone they want. Right? All different types of musicians. The microphone, if you know any vocalists are just as neurotic as all other musicians. Now you think, well, what's the big deal? It's just a microphone. Just grab a microphone and go. Well, yeah, you can do that. But the people who are really good understand, they have gone through a ton of microphones to find out what best captures and represents their voice as best as possible. Not all microphones. You could take $1,000 microphone and another $1,000 microphone, and you'd think, well, it's $1,000 microphone. They're all going to be good. Yeah, they're good. But for some applications, does it capture the subtle nuances of a particular voice? You have to understand pitch, right? So you have, in a male voice, you have, let's say, baritone. You have like tenors. You have contratenors, which is like Aaron Neville. He's a contratenor. Way up here, you know what I mean? Steve Perry, contratenor from Journey. you have to understand from a personal standpoint, that's the foundation level. You have to determine, okay, what type of voice do I have? Where does my voice sit in that range? There's a lot to it. That's like foundation level before you even get into the equipment. How do you choose a microphone? How do you choose a microphone that's going to best represent your voice? Where do you need to, in understanding how a transceiver presents that information via RF, and then you take into account phase shifting. We've all heard it on the band. You'll hear the band go kind of screwy, and it almost sounds like someone's taking like a phase knob and they're twisting it. And you'll hear like all of a sudden all of the drop end will fall off, and then it'll come back in. Or the high end will kind of shift and it'll get kind of hollow sounding. That's phase shifting. And you can get that with antennas too. If antennas are not properly designed, you can actually throw it out of phase. True. Especially with quads, stuff like that. That's why if a properly designed quad, you'll notice that people's audio on quads tend to be insanely strong. Right? They just have, you can almost tell that somebody's on a full wave loop or a quad based upon how they sound. It's a factor. Anybody who says it isn't is full of crap. It's a factor. Go listen to Tor, LA4 UOA. In Norway, he runs like a, 4 or 5 element boomer quad. Insanely strong audio, right? Okay, so that being said, I just wanted to apologize. If I make it sound like it's simple, it is not. It is not. Think long and hard whether you want to go down. When I say it's a rabbit hole, it's a rabbit hole. And there is no bottom to that rabbit hole. I have played with this stuff in ham radio since 2016. I'm still learning. It's 2020. That's 7 years I've been messing with this with HF transceivers. 7 years. Don't expect to plug in a rack if you've never messed with this stuff before and just have it happen. It might, but there needs to be a little backbone, a little back knowledge, and a pretty deep understanding of how to manipulate this stuff and make it do what you want it to do. Okay, that being said, on to the 7300. So that's basically where I'm at with the 73. So I wanted to get, HRD. This is the last free version of HRD. You can get it from people. Ask around. HRD has turned into a bunch of real scumbags. They've gone after people that have put it up online. It's not necessary to run HRD, okay? But it is kind of cool, and I'll show you what it looks like. And these are for folks who have never. Most people have played with HRD before, okay? And there are so many people with the last free version. I'm telling you, just ask around. Somebody will give it to you. They will. Be like, oh yeah, I got that here. So, if you want to go down this road, Dave's got it. Okay, so where am I? Let's get over here. So what you're looking at, and you can use even use an RTL SDR dongle for this. I did it. Go back, way back to 2016. I was using it on Hdsdr, which what you're looking at is Hdsdr and Ham Radio Deluxe. All right, so the first thing I'm going to show you how to get this going. It's not that difficult. I do have a virtual serial port emulator running. Now, Hdsdr went and pulled a fast one. Real dirtbag maneuver, and I like Hdsdr, right? They went to, if you want to run Hdsdr, it requires, so let me go, sorry about the noise, I have the gate open. Okay, DX Atlas. Okay, so you will need, for Hdsdr, you will need version 2 point something of OmniRig. It will not run anymore. And I've tried to look for a previous version of Hdsdr, and like the dirtbags they took it down. You can't get it. Before, it would run on the old version of OmniRig, which is 1.20. No longer true. You have to run the newest version, right? So download the newest version of OmniRig. That's this right here. That's not, it's actually not this. Let's go to downloads. If you scroll down here, okay, this is the old OmniRig, I think. But what you need is, let's say, let me see if I can find it. What I'll do is I'll post the links. I'll post the links for download in the description, okay? So let's do OmniRig new 2.0. Let's see if that pops up. Yep, 2.1. No, that's the old one. Bummer. Okay, this is where I got it from, I think. So this is the website I got it from, OmniRig 2.1. Download it, install it. Let me pull it up, and I'll show you how to configure it. All right. Where are you is the question. So is this the new OmniRig? No, it's not. They really clustered me here. Whoa. Okay, I just launched the client and it put the radio into dead key. This is why I hate them. Whoever did this is a tool, 100% tool. So let me see if I can find OmniRig. I need to shut that down anyways. V2, there we go. It keeps dead keying the freaking radio. I don't know why. Okay, so I have a virtual serial port emulator. You're going to need to create a splitter. So the splitter in my native COM port, make sure my power is all the way off because my radio is actually in transmit and I don't care. For some reason, when I bring this new OmniRig up on the screen, it dead keys the radio. Don't ask. So virtual serial port emulator, you can use COM0, COM, whatever. Create a serial port splitter. Find your native COM port, and you can do that through Device Manager, where the radio is sitting on. So mine is COM5, so I created a splitter to COM6, okay? Once that's done, open up OmniRig, and now I have Rig 2, I have IC7300 selected, and you want to place OmniRig on COM6. That goes on COM6. My baud rate is 115.2. Everything else was default Hdsdr I have on low, okay? Click OK. And she is not releasing the radio. I don't know why. Shut the radio down. Try powering it back up. Yep, and it came out of transmit. Okay. So once that's done, now you want to get HRD up and going. So, you got to be kidding me. It just dead keyed again. Okay. So this is HRD, so the radio unkeyed, so everything's off and running. So now I have to find, let's go to Program Options, Theme. Comms. See, I need to find the start screen. And unfortunately, I made a mistake, and it starts the radio automatically on startup. So I can't remember how to get this. Anybody in the chat know? Oh, no. Okay, port TX. Selection window. Why is it way down there? Yeah, bear with me. See if I can find it. Where do I find that stinking thing? Okay, disconnect. Okay. Okay. Here we go. I knew it had to be in there. I knew it had to be in there somewhere. Okay, when you first start HRD, it's going to come up with this screen, right? So for the Icom 7300, you want to set, choose Icom, and you want this set to IC 7700, all right? Make sure the COM port is sitting on the OmniRig COM port that you set up in OmniRig. I have my speed set to 9600, and this needs to be, actually, yep, and this needs to be 94, set up to 94. That's your CIV address. All right, once you do that, I'm not going to click connect here because that's not going to connect because my CIV address is wrong. I'm going to use this preset. So you want this is how I do it. So my DTR and RTS are off. All right. CIV address 94, and you're going to set this up in this new window that pops up in, do not check this box. I'm going to uncheck that. You can, once it lights up, you can just tell it to connect. And once it connects, it will always connect to the same radio after that. All right. So let me go over to the 7300. I'm going to leave that there. Let's go over here and we'll go to menu, go to set, and go to connectors. All right. I'll just walk you through some things. So you can see accessory USB output select AF, your output level, blah, blah, blah. Accessory USB AF squelch, that's off. In other words, it's open. These are all your levels. I have data off mod set to USB. And I'll tell you the reason why. Oops, sorry about that. And the data mod set to USB. The reason why I do that is because I bring my audio into the 7300 virtually. So it comes in through the USB audio codec. All right. USB serial function is CIV. Back to connectors. We're at the bottom of the list. So now let's go into CIV. I have my CIV baud rate. Some people set this. I just set mine to auto. All right. And it works. Here's the CIV address, 94H. CIV transceive is off. Don't know if that should be on, but it just works, so I don't care. Pretty much, oh yeah, and the CIV USB port is set to link to remote. That has to be set to link to remote so it can link to the other software, all right? That's pretty much it. Once that's set, kill that. You can come back over here ETR, and choose this one. You can either double click it or you can select it. In your case, it will be in here, right? Just hit connect and she should go. All right, so I'm going to hit connect. Boom, there it is. Okay, here's kind of a cool little thing, right? So let's look at this. All this crap up here, I could give a crap less about, and you'll see why. So here's a little trick I found. It caused me more frustration than I can shake a stick at, right? I want this window collapsed so that all I see are the controls on the radio, right? So running in the 7700 model on HRD gives me volume, AF gain, which controls the volume knob on the front of the radio, gives me RF gain, which is critical for the RX DAP system, gives me filter width. I can adjust the filter width, especially if I'm contesting with a slide of this slider. It has the twin PBTs right here, the inside and the outside, which is a powerful weapon. What the Icom doesn't give you, which this does, is an IF shift. And that's a slider right here. Gives you your noise reduction level right here. You can adjust that and this is all without even touching the radio. Your power level, your drive level. This will set your drive right here. And the RF gain, like I said, this is very handy on the RX DAP system. Just to let you know, you should never run a 7300 with the RF gain wide open, ever. Even if you're not running the DAP. Not worth it. All it does is bring in more crap. Have your notch filters down here. Squelch, don't use it. Your monitor gain, if you want to kick the monitor in and listen to how beautiful you sound. Noise blinker level. AGC manual does not work. And drive is irrelevant. Okay? So what you can do is you can adjust this. I have this set to collapse. So when you collapse it, you'll be like, well, where are all the sliders? When you go over here to the scroll bar, pull it down, bada boom. You've got a nice compact control surface with all of your control functions on the radio. Now let's get to Hdsdr. Here's the trick. So when you click on Hdsdr, download it, install it as usual. Shouldn't have to tell anybody that. I have an assortment of goodies in here. So I have the HF Plus actually plugged in right now. So I'm going to click on that one. So choose the EXTIO, regardless of what you're running, whatever you're running. Make sure you place the EXTIO in the directory if it's not there or already in Hdsdr, and it should see it when this pops up. It's going to ask you what to start. Just click on it and bada boom, bada bing. Now you're saying to yourself, well, how the heck do I get this locked up to the radio? Right? Let me show you something. So you guys can understand it. Let's add a video capture device to this screen. And we're going to add existing. So we're going to do this. So you can see that it is actually tracking the radio. So if I click through the pan adapter, you'll see the radio change, right? And it's also changing in HRD as well. So they're all locked up together. Now to get Hdsdr to lock up to HRD, the best way I've found, let me show you this, is go over here to options and go to DDE to HDR. Click on this. It opens a new window. Make sure you can see it. It's not hidden. By default, DDE format is going to be on none. What you want to do is you want to set this to HRD and click OK. And you will see if it connects, which it will, it'll go status connection OK. So what this is doing is this isn't actually connected via CAT to your radio. It's actually connected to HRD. Here's the important thing about this. So as any of you have probably found out, that if you have any of these contest loggers, like, and I've done a video on this, November 1 Mike, it has to be set to the same COM port, the split, as, let's say, SDR console. Let's say you're running a dongle on it, like I do, and you want console locked up to the radio and you're using console to monitor, even if you're not using console to monitor, or Hdsdr. See, what this does is it takes the heat off that COM port because it's connected to HRD, not OmniRig. It's flowing through OmniRig, but the connection was never established to OmniRig. It's actually looking at HRD. The advantage to this is you can run November 1 Mike. If you set your baud rates low enough, because what it is a polling issue. This is what I figured out. November 1 Mike, these contest loggers are port hogs. So they will constantly poll the transceiver. And what ends up happening is, I don't know if it's a crash or a collision or something happens where you'll see the pan adapter flash. And I've actually seen my transceiver switch bands on me. And that has stopped happening. So what I like about this is I can run this in a contest, and I can run a contest logger locked up to the radio as well without that problem. Now, it's not a big deal for me because I have a son and an anon, and I don't have that issue. It has something to do with the serial port splitter. It never happens on a serial port pair. See, on the Sun and the Anon, there is no native serial port. It doesn't generate one because it's connected through the LAN. So you have to create a pair, and you have to set the radio on one port and set all your software on the other port. It functions differently than a splitter, and I have never found a way around that using a splitter. And unfortunately, you can't use a pair on the 7300 because it has to be tied to the native COM port. It's not running through the LAN. And there's no way to set that in. If you could set it in the radio, that would be dynamite because it would solve that issue. But I haven't found a way to do that. And I've never seen it in a menu. So because it connects via USB cable to the computer and establishes a COM port automatically. So that's why you have to use a splitter. So there you go, guys. You guys can figure out how to manipulate the Hdsdr if you choose to use it. For a control surface and not monitoring the audio, I love this. It's a beautiful display. It works really well. Oh, one thing I wanted to show you, right? The first thing you'll notice is the S meter is way out. It ain't even remotely close. So what you do is you make sure your RF gain is wide open on the transceiver, and go to options, and go to calibration settings. Click on S meter. Okay. And what you want to do is you want to watch the S meter on the rig. Mine's not showing anything. Let's get onto a signal. I'll demo it for Figgles. Let me get the audio on, see what's going on.
Two, three, that's close. 123.
I don't. The problem with the contest is you're going to only hear one side of the equation most of the time. Should be on 40 or something. And every time I click on a signal, they unkey.
Thank you.
Flipping
CQ
it.
contest, Whiskey 1, Romeo, Charlie, Romeo.
Okay, let's see if
Alpha,
it...
Alpha.
Okay, so let me bring the RF gain up.
Papa, Alpha, 0, Victor, Lima, Yankee.
So you'll notice...
591106.
So you'll notice that...
Thank you. CQ contest, Whiskey 1, Romeo, Charlie,
So
Romeo.
he's about an S9, just barely bumping into the plus.
Kilo 3, Tango, Charlie, 591107.
Yep. So he's about an S9 on the radio and an S9 on the meter. If you watch the two, to calibrate this,
Thank you.
mute this. To calibrate this, you click on S meter, and then you literally, you have to watch the signal on the rig and put the mouse on the S meter where that signal is. Put the mouse on the S meter on Hdsdr, and then watch the S meter on the 7300. And if it's, let's say he's about 10 over, so I'll place my cursor at 10 over, and I'll wait for that signal to come back to 10 over. And all you have to do is left click it, and it will calibrate the meter. I'm not going to do it because it's perfect. It's bang on right now. So that's basically how you do that. All right, you guys. All of the functions work. You can switch modes. You can do all kinds of stuff from either of these pieces of software. But it will command the radio from here. One thing, I have the AGC threshold and the volume off, only because I don't use it. All it is a control surface, and it's a heck of a lot nicer than looking at the stupid front end of the radio. And you know, you can see really well. So there you go. I'm out of here. I dropped myself in the middle of a contest. I don't know what that means, Paul, but I'm a little nervous. Okay, let's back up and I will close it down. I got dinner waiting for me. What time is it? What do we got? Ooh, I'm 14 minutes over. I wanted this to be 30 minutes. Okay. John, how you doing? Paul. Don't you love it? No idea how he fixed it, but it did. That happens to me all the time, Paul. All the time. Vito, what's up, dude? Yeah, I'm freaking screwing around. Hey, Tim. I already said to you, Paul. Hello to you, Paul. There's two Pauls. Let's see. All right. Okay, every time I try to, yep. Okay, that's it. There was a lot there, you guys, but I will have the links to everything after dinner. So bear with me. Again, you do not need an expensive dongle to play this game. You don't. Even an RTL SDR, ramp up the gain on the RTL SDR. The only problem with that dongle, I will tell you, is that you will get AM mixing. It's not the greatest dongle. You'd be better off, going to the next step up, which is a considerable step up, which would be like an SDR play. Just a base model SDR play will do it, or like a new elec with a, can't remember, it would be an up converter or down converter, something like that. You do not need to spend a lot of money to make this happen, but it's really nice. I really like it. And I really like the fact that I can have damn close to full control. Virtually every single thing that I use on a moment-to-moment basis, even in a contest, even in incredibly crowded bands, is all right there on the screen. And it's a hell of a lot quicker to reset any of these controls. Like if you were looking at the IF shift, right? And you slide this over to deal with some QRM. You can right click on it, hit center, boom. It snaps the twin PBTs and everything right to center. It does that on all of them. Filter width, screw messing with a damn radio. Just grab your filter width and crush it. If you have to go down to like 1.8 kilohertz because you got so much QRM coming in, do it. Do it. You can do it. You can center it. You can click and go to maximum. You know, that doesn't seem to work too good, but you know, you can stretch it back out to 3.6 if you're talking to guys running a little bit wider. So anyways, yeah, sky's the limit. All at the click of a mouse. That's why I like it. Anyways, doesn't matter what I like. It's what you guys want to do, right? See y'all later, Steve. Good to see you in here. And the rest of you goons, Todd, Andy, both Pauls, Vito Bandito. Good God, Tim, John, Andy, of course, Glenn. And the rest of you guys. I think that pretty much rounds it out. See you guys later, 7-3. Killing it. Going to eat.